question 5 from Skills Check 1, and I'm going to spend a bit more time on this because surds are going to be such a regular feature of what we do, particularly when we get to exam practice, so I want you to feel more confident with them. So it says simplify the following surds, and we know that a surd is where you've got a square root, but the number within the square root is not a square number, so you're not going to get a simple integer answer. It's actually going to come out as an irrational number. So we can't solve them, but what we can do is see if we can simplify them. And in order to simplify them, we can only do that if one of their factors is a square number, because we can always find the root of a square number. Okay, by the very nature of them. So let's think about 75, and I'm going to show it in 2 different ways. So you could just think about 75 and think, does it have a factor that is a square number? And you may come out with the fact that it's 25 times 3. So we could rewrite root 75 as root 25 times root 3. That's perfectly acceptable. We've split it up into 2 factors. And then from that, we can find that one of those parts is solvable. The root of 25 is 5. And we are left with root 3. So root 75 can be simplified to 5 root 3 because one of the factors was a square number, and therefore we could find the square root of it. Okay, now I think this is the one that maybe caused people a problem. Because if you take 32 and you could think about it and you think, has it got a square number as a factor? And yes, it has. It's got 4 as a square factor. So we could say, we could rewrite that as 4 and 8. And then we could simplify root 4 to 2 and be left with root 8. And I think that's what a few of you did. However, this is not fully simplified, because if we think about root 8, that could also be written as root 4, root 2, and then we'd end up with 2, and again we can find the square root of 4, 2 times root 2, so we would end up with 4 root 2. So if you've done just this, you've only partially simplified it. So let's think about where the problem lies with that. Well, yes, you found a square number that was a factor, but the key thing, just like when you're dealing with fractions and you've got to simplify a fraction, you must find the highest factor. We need the highest factor that is square. And when it comes to 32 could also be broken up into 16, also a square number, root 2. Okay, and if we square root 16, we get 4 root 2. So this method is okay if you don't stop there. You do recognise that you can break that down further. But I think the key thing is to look at the factors, and if you find that there are more than one square numbers as factors, you're looking for the biggest. Okay, it's just the sort of same thing. If you had something like this, 18 over 24, and you had to simplify it, you might say, okay, well, they've got a common factor of 3. So that would give us 6 over 8. But let's do that. So that would be dividing by 3. But we still have got a common factor left to take out. at this stage, we could then take out a factor of 2. So we would need to recognise that and then take that to 3/4. If at this stage, when we go back to the beginning, we find the highest common factor, we should be able to see that the highest common factor is 6, and that would jump us straight from there to there. Okay, so it's not just about finding factors or even a square factor, it's finding the biggest square factor. Okay, I hope that's helpful and makes sense. Now let's just look at this third one. So, well, the thing about doing the square root of 8, we've already just done it here, haven't we? So if we look at 8, 8 could be written as root 4, root 2, and of course we can solve the square root of 4, making it 2. Okay, so the second one was the one that caused a few of you problems, but I think also sometimes you are taking the square root off the wrong number. So do think carefully about what we're trying to achieve here. The whole reason we're looking for a square number as a factor is because we can then square root it. Okay, hope that's helpful. So again, 6 marks, and that would have been 2 for each of those 3 problems. Okay, end of this video.